Welcome in, race fans, to another edition of Hot Topic Sound Off. This is episode 2611, and it's Bristol, baby. The high banks, the tight corners, quarters, and tempers. Bristol delivered everything we expect from short track racing, and then some. From the NASCAR Truck Series to the O'Reilly Series and the Cup Series, the action was nonstop under the lights and on the concrete. And it didn't stop there. We're also heading out west to break down the ARCA West Series showdown in Tucson, where rising stars continue to make their mark. Tonight's big question, are we witnessing a true next-gen takeover across the sport? We've got bold takes, key moments, and plenty to debate. So buckle up because it's time to sound off. All right, we are Hot Topic Sound Off on Fan for Racing Radio tonight, and it's Bristol, baby. And All Sports All Day is here. The Cup Series, he says 8 out of 10, O'Reilly 7 out of 10, Trucks 3 out of 10, and the Cars Tour 7 out of 10. And I haven't watched the West race yet, so he can't say anything about the West race. But what do you think of his takes here, Jay?
Well, I told you I was a little behind. I have been since Friday. I'm playing catch up, Sharon, but not All Sports All Day. I saw as soon as you came on, his rankings were popping up there. Do appreciate them. I don't know if I agree with them, but that's okay. I wouldn't be able to argue with any of them. I did not see the Truck Series. That one I heard about and listened to just a very little bit. The O'Reilly Auto Parts that I listened to on the radio on the way home Saturday night. And then I did get to watch the Cup Series. And yeah, I did think the Cup Series was very good. So you're 8 out of 10 there. I would have to concur with that. Tell me why you thought the Truck Series was only a 3 out of 10. Like I said, that one I had to hear about everything.
Oh, yeah, he did say 3 out of 10. Sorry.
Yeah, that one being real low, just kind of curious there. I thought it was good racing. Sharon, we talked about this into the preview, and it translated that way on the track of the young gun movement. I think there was a good mix because they were mixing it up with some veterans, some of it being the strategy call, but that's part of racing. They were, it wasn't like out of left field. Anybody came out of left field with what they did. So I think there's a lot of takeaways, but I do think that we are seeing it. Again, from the ARCA Menard Series West, was the kid 15 years old, I believe?
Yep, 15 years old. Cole Denton. All right. We're not at the Cup Series yet, but I'm going to let All Sports All Day. Stage 1 and 2 was okay, but that caution fest mixed with Fox being unbearable, and then Eckes and Heim BS, stage 3 killed the race. I understand where he's coming from.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, everything I heard was via social media. I take that. I learned a new line. Not just take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes you got to take it with a salt shaker of salt. So. If all I'm getting is off social media, I get that. That's very opinionated, and that's okay, but it is then very slanted, so I'm aware of that.
Just a quick note here. I did get a notation that we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. This may be an issue on Facebook's end. It's possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook. I don't think I did that. We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. Please check Facebook to ensure the stream looks okay. If this continues for a while, try creating a new live stream or just remove the destination from the stream and re-add. So if somebody from Facebook could let us know if we are in fact streaming, we would really appreciate it. All you have to do is comment in the comment section, and it should show up here. But it would really help us out if you could let us know if we are indeed still streaming over at Facebook.
I am actually trying to log in there myself, but I know that's always one I get a little behind on.
Oh, that's okay. Usually it shows up in the, at least it does for me. I don't know if it does for everybody. But we're going to start with the NASCAR Truck Series. Christopher Bell did steal the spotlight with the win. It reinforces the impact that Cup drivers can still have when they drop down. Raises questions, though, about how truck regulars stack up against top-tier talent. And Corey Heim did not win the Triple Truck Series finale bonus of $350K. In fact, no one won the $50K bonus either, because it was a Cup Series driver that won the race. And according to their guidelines, no one wins. We'll go over the race results, but the headline is a Cup regular Bell jumping into the Truck Series and taking the victory, showcasing elite pace against the series regulars. So, Jay, any thoughts along those lines?
Well, honestly, I mean, should that really surprise you? Now, what was a little bit, I find it encouraging, though, Christopher Bell being in the second Halmar Friesen truck. They have shown progression, but they have also showed some lack of speed and organization as they've bounced around with crew chiefs, with manufacturers. So I think that is a very positive for that team to know that, hey, if we have a top level driver, a NASCAR Cup Series driver in the truck, we are capable of winning. Now we got to figure out how we need to do that on a weekly basis with our regular drivers, Stuart Friesen himself. And, we saw that a year or so ago before he got in his accident, he knew he was frustrated. He's like, why am I even doing this? Well, he came back, got the win, felt better. Winning cures everything, right? And even his post-race interview, he's like, yeah, I'm happy. We had a 12th, not real great, but happy for the team. But it also does show, though, hey, what we're capable of. We just got to get all the pieces together for ourselves on a weekly basis. So I like it. Again, was it unexpected? In my opinion, no. Corey Heim being in the mix. Is he a Cup Series regular? Not yet. Should be. Not yet. A whole different topic. But the teams that are in there competing with, we talk about that on a regular basis. That shows you where you're at. So I'm okay with it.
Okay. So I do agree with what All Sports All Day says here. Fox telling Smith he had won just to be dead wrong looked so bad on their part. Had that poor man on top of the world for a bit. Yeah, that was really bad that they told him that he won, only to find out after he got out of the car, he did not win it.
Well, Sharon, I don't know about you. I know for me the other night when we were talking about it, we kind of fell into that same belief. Honestly, looking back, when we looked at all the previous winners, the fact that this one there is no winner of it, we had never seen that before. The Triple Truck Challenge is different. You have to be a Truck Series regular to be eligible, but you do have to win the race, not just be the top finisher. And honestly, on the morning drive, they were talking about it. They said that they actually didn't fully understand that rule either. So a lot of people want to attack Fox. I think that's what their goal for the weekend is. That was kind of an understanding or a lack of understanding across the board, just because we hadn't actually seen it not happen that way.
It's because they used to not let Cup guys race in the triple truck races, and that's true.
Right, and that was a change as well. They couldn't even race in those races, and that may be why we hadn't seen it before and even had to apply it.
Exactly.
I do understand, being that we had this situation and it could develop that way, it should have been clarified. But again, is that on Fox or is that on whoever's running the program for the triple truck to be clear, so that somebody else doesn't make that mistake and it fall like it did? that how it happened, I agree, was bad. I'm just not going to put it all on Fox in making a mistake, is all I'm saying.
Yes. We will get Hunter. I know you've got a couple comments in there. I'm going to get to those comments. Hang tight with me because I want to kind of stay to our outline that we've got here tonight as well. Jay, we're going to go over the results here.
Okay.
Christopher Bell did win this race. Do I need to go bigger here?
No, that's about right. Once you scroll down, okay, that's bigger, definitely. Bigger can't hurt, right? I worked with a guy from Texas this weekend. That's their philosophy. Bigger is always better.
Bigger is better. Okay, Christopher Bell did win the race for Hallmark Friesen Racing in the number 62. The win margin was 0.330 seconds. He did lead 63 laps. You had Christopher Bell in first place, followed by Chandler Smith. Then it was Gio Ruggiero, Ross Chastain, another Cup driver. Then it was Christian Eckes, Jake Garcia, Dawson Sutton with another good finish, Kyle Busch in 8th, Carson Hocevar, a couple more Cup Series drivers here in 8th and 9th, and Brendan Queen for Ram, Jay, in that 10th place spot.
Yeah, and there again, everybody, when you look at these storylines and what the storylines are from the top 10, gonna have, I'm gonna try and mute myself here as my computer's fucking with me, but there are different thoughts on the storylines from the top 10 there. When it comes to specifically Christian Eckes, as I know he was involved as All Sports All Day started right off the bat with that, I have not seen it, so I will say that up front. What I didn't like to hear from, and I'm just going to broaden it with social media, is Corey Heim had a shot at the Triple Truck Challenge, should have been more respectful. Had Christian Eckes won the race, he'd have gotten 50,000. He'd have gotten the race win. And he is running for the series-long championship. So I don't know how bad aggressively it was. Christian Eckes is an aggressive driver. I'm not going to dispute that. But he has a right to race for what he's racing for, not pull over to let anybody else win their money.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that, Jay, in a little bit here. But yeah, it is unfortunate. We're just talking about the top 10 here. Christian Eckes did land in the top 10 here. He did end up 5th, but he was kind of a wrecking crew. But I will say the situation with that too is Corey Heim also said that he didn't feel like he did it intentionally. And I thought Corey Heim gave a very classy review. And in fact, he said, I did it to him earlier. I expected him to do it back to me. So it depends on, I know a lot of people are giving Christian Eckes a hard time about that, but Corey Heim seemed to have an understanding of what happened there. And he was there and in the mix. He said that he understood why it happened. So I thought his post incident interview was a pretty good one.
With that, the other stories though have been talking about the top 10. Gio Ruggiero, I think we have seen the progression that he as a driver is making, being in contention more frequently. You have the Cup drivers we talk about mixing in, but you hit on it. Dawson Sutton started 34th, finished 7th. That is huge. That's not just getting into a groove. That is turning a season around for that driver and team. And then you have the mixture of the Cup drivers, which we expect. And honestly, and I'll talk more about this in the O'Reilly Auto Parts, it's really sad to say it, but Kyle Busch coming down and getting a good finish is a good confidence booster for him. I know that's horrible that we have to say that, but it's true of that. Remind himself that, hey, I haven't lost the talent to drive. And then obviously it was a 10th place, didn't match the season best of 9th for the Dodge Ram, but we're seeing the Dodge Ram, and I get excited about that. Top 10 there for rookie Brendan Queen, and a consistent top 15s now, 10 to 15th on a regular basis from the Dodge team. Again, it's that progression. Yes, I want to see them win races and win championships, and we'll dance and celebrate. We're just not there yet, but they're getting there.
Yes, yes, they are. And to your point about it being a nice mix, there were 4 Cup Series drivers in that top 10. That means there's 6 regulars that are in the top 10, and some that we haven't seen up in the top 10. So I thought that was a really good thing.
It is, and I know you said I'm reading now Hunter Blaze here saying Honeycutt and Lane Riggs. Okay, that one I hadn't seen a whole lot of details on. I knew they both finished towards the back. Again, I had to strictly look at the internet to see the results. Hadn't seen a whole lot on that, but that's one of those of rough days, bad things going to happen. Drivers that capitalize on it, and for me, I get excited. Of what I look at is the total points then because of all that is I think the top 4 drivers are only like 4 to 8 points apart. That excites me. Chandler Smith retaking the lead with his good finish.
Well,
I think by 1 point.
We're not in the points section yet. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so what happens is we talk about it in the first section, and then by the time we get to that section, we've already talked about it. Okay, so let's kind of refocus here. The headline is that a Cup Series regular is jumping into the Truck Series, taking the victory and showcasing elite pace against series regulars. So if we want to jump to the next section, we can. But I guess it raises questions about how truck regulars stack up against the top tier talent. I will say this about that. Okay. The Truck Series regulars did contend with them. If you look at what we have in the top 10 drivers here, Gio Ruggiero, Chandler Smith, they mixed it up. They were up there finishing 2nd and 3rd. Christian Eckes, a little more aggressive. He ended up in 5th. Jake Garcia was contending with the Cup Series regulars. He did better than Kyle Busch and Carson Hocevar. So did Dawson Sutton. So I thought that was really good to see. And again, with Ram getting Brendan Queen up in that top 10, I thought that was an awesome thing to see this week as well. I think it's good to have the Cup Series regulars in the race. I wish it wasn't the Triple Truck Challenge race, though, because I think it did kind of take away from the Triple Truck Challenge.
And maybe we see them go back to that rule of adding, hey, those 3 races, you can't have a driver from a regular or another regular season or collecting points. However, again, Corey Heim being one that technically is running all of them, but he did declare 4 Truck Series points. And I don't know if this is going to be considered off topic, but there was discussion about him running for the championship, being how good he started in running these races. He is not eligible. And I know we talked about this of whether or not he would get a NASCAR waiver, and he better not, in my opinion. And that kind of seemed to be the consensus. Everybody seems to be overlooking that rule. He has not started every race, so thus is not eligible.
Okay, I'm going to put points at the very beginning of our review from now on because we tend to want to talk about that. Okay, I think Gio in the Tricon truck will be a contender for the championship. He's looking really good this year. And he follows that up with, if Riggs and Honeycutt keep getting unlucky, I think Gio could be the next in line. All Sports All Day followed that up with that comment. I do think Gio Ruggiero is looking really good this season. And the fact that he keeps landing in the top 5, top 10 is a really good thing.
Well, and overall, though, this race, unfortunately, with the incident, that's been Honeycutt's. To me, Caden Honeycutt, although he didn't have the win yet, has been the most consistent because, again, he was one tied with Corey Heim as far as that. I think he has been the most consistent. And where was he running when the incident happened? I believe up in the top several positions. I don't know that it was out front or right up front, but he started on the pole.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take this down for now. I do want to just point out before we go off of this, if you look at Daniel Suarez, another truck guy, another Cup guy, ended up in 18th. Connor Ferguson, who was a new guy in a Ram truck this week in the 25, ended up in 21st. Lane Riggs had that 22nd place finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., another Cup guy, finishing in 26th place. I feel bad for Grant Infinger in 27th. Corey Heim ended up in 30th. Caden Honeycutt 31st. And Frankie Muniz, we'll talk about him yet tonight as well, ended up in 35th place. So Corey LaJoy, the other Ram driver, in 29th. So just to give you an overall picture of where everybody ended up there. But let's go on to our next topic here.
Well, you hit on a couple there of what we saw this season turning around. Dawson Sutton being one of them. Grant Enfinger had, unfortunately, this is another bad hiccup of a race. You mentioned Carson Ferguson, a dirt track driver, getting one of 2 scheduled starts. I thought he did a good job. Obviously, I would have loved to have seen him a little bit further up, as he would have. But going back to comparing it to Cletus McFarland, finish all the laps, not wreck himself or others, or be the story based off of a bad run, I think was a good showing as far as just getting in there and getting laps. So, yeah, is 21st impressive? No, did move up from his 29th starting position, but was not the story of, hey, this guy's out there, he can't drive, he shouldn't have gotten the start.
Right. I forgot to put this up to Victory Lane, though, for our Victory Lane Chasing the Chase. This week it was, actually, he was not chasing the chase because it was a Cup driver, but it was Christopher Bell in Victory Lane this week. So we got to give him his kudos there. Okay, our next topic on our list here today is the chaos and contact defying Bristol again. There were multiple incidents throughout the race. Heavy traffic on concrete half-mile created tension. Short track intensity led to drivers rubbing and sometimes wrecking. The takeaway, this is classic Bristol, survival often matters as much as speed. So let's talk about the chaos and everything. Hunter Blaze and All Sports All Day have been commenting on that. Let's see. Up here first, he said Eckes and Heim, that BS in stage 3 killed that race. And then Hunter said Eckes took out Heim. What a shame. That was a shame. Also, Honeycutt and Lane Riggs got involved in the wreck, not of their own doing. And that's always frustrating for teams. And then in response to what I said about Heim's interview, All Sports All Day says Heim is just a humble guy and knows getting in crap with Eckes when he himself should be in Cup is a bad look. Eckes dumped him, no doubt. And then we got into the whole Geo thing. And I want to put this up too, because this ties back to the results. I think it's between Majeski, Garcia, and Geo for the third wheel. Okay, I like that. Those guys are all good drivers.
Well, Majeski needs to pick it back up. And I know he's a solid driver, again, not necessarily just kind of a hiccup. And I'm going to go based off of what I heard on the morning drive. Not to say y'all aren't being objective. You're entitled to your opinion. They are normally try to stay really objective. They pretty much kind of called it a racing incident and weren't putting the blame on either one per se. However, again, as a fan, and I've done it, I certainly guilty of it, If it's my favorite driver, I like one more than the other. That can sway your vision of it. And I say, I've not yet got a chance to actually even watch that race. So I can't really comment on it, but I know the morning drive was saying that they pretty much felt it was a racing incident. One came up, one came down, they came together.
Right. That's what happens. It's Heim's first DNF in quite some time. I think it's his first DNF for a long time, if not going back to his entire career. And Hunter says, Heim is upset with him deep down. Ha ha ha. And that's more than a ha ha. Heim was upset. There's no doubt. It was a big disappointment that he didn't win that $350,000 payoff with the Triple Truck Challenge. But
I think that goes back to what All Sports All Day said of a very humble driver. Again, yes, knowing that he could be in Cup, should be, again, depending on your opinion. Being a professional and to be so and do so at such a young age, I think is really good for his long-term career. Yes, I'm sure he was. Again, you're talking about could have had 350,000 more, been the only driver to have done it. Yeah, things like that stand out. You obviously do want it. So I do think he did handle himself, even though he did express frustration.
Yes. And I will say this, what I'm going to be looking for from Eckes beyond this, though, is how does he respond? Heim really did him a favor, I think, in his post-race comments. And it probably was just a racing incident. Heim did say he did it to him earlier. He expected it back. So I do think that there could be a learning opportunity for Eckes, though, too. I want to see how he responds to that, because one of the learning curves that a lot of these drivers go through is that respect for their fellow competitors and where they are and everything. Yes, everybody wants to get their best finish. Yes, everybody is out there to win the race. We get that. But there is something to be said for respecting your fellow competitors as well. And again, I'm not saying that he did it purposely. It's possible that he did. And I know a lot of fans feel that way. And I get it. But I do think that we'll see where it takes him if there is a learning curve there for Eckes.
That's one of, and Sharon, I know you and I have a little bit different take on this, but it is Bristol. It is a short track. Expected. I know, again, we would like to see clean side by side, little contact, but no wrecks. However, the stands, I heard somebody talking about that, reflect that go back to the old Bristol where it used to be. You had to do that. I'm not in favor of that where you have to wreck somebody in order to pass them. But I'm okay with the little bit of bumping and banging, which occasionally ends up in the situations we're talking about. Because that is what brings about the interest and intrigue in the sport. Like I said, I don't want to see it be a controlled demo derby or anything like that. You can go to a demo derby for that if that's what you want. But I am not in favor of, and I'll just say other series of no contact or we're going to black flag you either.
Right. No, I get that. I definitely get that. But there was some chaos with this race. And it did kind of create a lot of tension on the track. But to the point that Jay's just making, this is classic Bristol. And survival, part of the survival piece of all of this, too, is taking care of your equipment, being there at the end so that you can win. And that's the lesson that I think Eckes needs to learn. His aggressiveness is, I'm not saying it's bad, but you can cross that line sometimes. And when you do, it hurts you as bad as it hurts the other guy in a lot of cases. In this case, it didn't. He actually ended up with a 5th place finish. But maybe he could have continued for the win had he not gotten into that altercation.
Well, and there's several factors here that got brought up throughout the day that I hadn't really taken into perspective of with this newer body, and this is more on the O'Reilly and the Cup Series. I know the Truck Series still have the sheet metal fenders, so it's a little bit different when we're talking about them, but it is of long term of, and we've seen it with, and I don't have any choice here, but to use the name of Carson Hocevar, you get a reputation, okay, whether it's deserved or not, and then you have to change that. Same with Ross Chastain. You know, there's been several drivers that then have that reputation. So even if it was not their fault, if they were in the area within a lap or so, 5 car lengths back, oh, it's his fault. No, it wasn't, but that comes with it. So, you as a driver got to determine that. And we've seen drivers like Mark Martin and Martin Truex. They're like, I'm not going to drive like that. No matter what happens to me, who does what to me, I'm not going to drive like that. And kudos to them. They got more control than I do.
Yes. Austin Hill, for example, last year couldn't contain himself and purposely was wrecking. I felt like being an aggravated driver, and I agree with you. But he's come a long way. He has kind of overcome that. And a lot of drivers go through that. By the way, All Sports All Day said he agreed. He thought you gave a great point, Jay. And he said, I agree. And he says, I picked time, and I'm pretty sure people the town over could hear me screaming at my TV when he got wrecked. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you for that at all. I was pretty upset myself because I knew what was on the line for Corey Heim. And I felt really, really bad for him.
I've had some neighbors that know I'm watching a race or are concerned about what's going on in my house for that same reason, no doubt. So you're not alone there, All Sports All Day.
Not at all. Not at all. Okay, let's see what's next on our list here. Frankie Muniz draws attention for the wrong reason. Muniz was involved in a crash with other trucks and failed to finish. The incident sparked post-race frustration and words with competitors. His Malcolm in the Middle themed truck added extra buzz to the situation, and the takeaway, it became one of the most viral storylines of the night. He came in to promote the new Malcolm in the Middle and did a good job of that in all the pre-race and everything. But during the race, he got into it and ended up with a DNF, I believe. Let me see. Where did he finish, Jay?
I know he was down towards the bottom. Honestly, there my computer shut down.
35th out of 36, and he was out of the race. It sparked, and he took out some people with him as well, and that's why there was a lot of, I'm going to put the controversy thing up here.
Right.
That's why there was a lot of discussion about it. All Sports All Day says, I feel so bad for Frankie. Man, he's so nice, and that was Tyler's fault. Frankie was holding his line. And I stepped away when all of that happened, so I missed some of it. I did see replays, but I think it's a little bit different. When you say Tyler, are you talking about Tyler Reif?
Yeah, I'm guessing based on the finishing order there, it's Tyler Reif. And I was going to say, y'all are going to have to fill me in. Honestly, I didn't even see any social media about this one specifically, so I got nothing.
Okay.
All Sports All Day saying he felt it was Frankie holding his line and that it was Tyler's fault. So
yes, I kind of got that impression as well. He's taken a lot of heat for, I think, not unexpected. What's the word? He's taken a lot of heat, and I question some of the heat that he's taking. He says front stretch on YouTube had a great interview with both of them. Okay, that's good.
Thank you, All Sports All Day.
Yes, thank you so much. I think that did Tyler take ownership of it? All Sports All Day. Did he take the ownership of it, or was he? I know that they were both upset at the end of all of that. this was a big race for Frankie Munoz. I will say that. And I know he's not a front runner driver, but he was out there to promote the show that he is starring in. He wanted a good finish for that car. He said it was a racing incident. Okay. And Tyler did not take credit for it. He did not take ownership of it. Okay. So, and you know, again, I think the drivers are kind of in a bad situation here when things like that.
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just go based off of what I do know, which this specific incident, not a whole lot. Tyler is one that has that label of maybe a little more aggressive. Frankie is aware of where he is at in his racing career and the team. And yes, I think maybe just frustrated with, hey, we're running 20th to 15th. That's where we can run at our best day or a good day. And that was taken away. So that's probably where the frustration is. They know they don't have a race winning truck or team at this point. So I think that's probably where his frustration comes in of, hey, we were doing our thing in just running solid where we can to our capability, and to get taken out might be his viewpoint on it.
Right. And All Sports All Day says, must we not forget, Frankie is in a Reum Brothers truck, not exactly that top tier equipment to the same
Exactly.
point you were saying there. Frankie is fighting to stay on the lead lap. That's true. That's from All Sports All Day. And Hunter says best finish he had was 10th at Daytona. And Lucky Dog, I'm not sure.
Okay. That's the getting back on the lead lap. I know they kind of went away from that title, but yeah, getting back on the lead lap, the free pass. Okay, All Sports All Day is at least semi-close to our age of going back to the Lucky Dog title.
Yes.
There again, you know, yes, I understand they're not in that top equipment, but that doesn't mean you can just run them over or they need to get out of your way, because they are there to race to the best of their ability, and they do so with that team. And shout out there to Hunter Blaze, again, another statistician. You know, we can't always swap back and forth between pages and look stuff up. So we greatly appreciate y'all being able to do that and share those stats with us.
Yes, we really do. And again, to me, it goes back to respecting your fellow competitors, understanding that Frankie Munoz's goals are not to win the race necessarily. He knows he's not in that kind of equipment. His goal is to stay on that lead lap, to the point that somebody else made here. All Sports All Day. And you might be, you know, in different equipment that's more capable. So show us your talent and get around them without wrecking them. I know we're talking about Bristol, so it comes down to being a racing incident. But I think that, again, some of these drivers kind of show their immaturity when they think that these drivers should just pull over for them. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case either. I don't think that's how you become a better driver yourself, when other drivers pull over for you. I think you have to show your racing skill and learn how to get around those drivers. And is it more difficult at Bristol? Yes. If you want to be a top tier driver, you have to develop the skill to know how to get around these guys. And that's the guys that are in the Cup Series are premier drivers. And do they have those moments too? Absolutely. We're all human. I get it. So,
and again, I'm speaking on not having specifically seen this incident, but I will say this as a general whole of, yes, it is a short track. Yes, we expect some bumping and banging, but don't make that your excuse or reason for it either. If you didn't give room or credit to the team of a team that is right on the tail end of the lead lap, that doesn't mean you can just run them over because you have a top 5 truck. They're not there to pull over and let you by. They're still racing their race. And so I'm with Sharon, be respectful of that.
And that's all I ask for. I mean, I think that
you ask a lot.
And maybe that's a lot, yeah. But I think it is part of the learning curve of some of these drivers as well. Okay, I think we're done with that topic, unless you have something more there. The
No.
takeaway, again, it became a big tempers flare in heavy traffic conditions, drivers arguing over lap traffic in racing room, increased aggression late in runs, frustrations boiling over after on-track incidents. Takeaway, this wasn't just hard racing. It actually bordered on personal in some cases. And that goes back to the Frankie Muniz thing too. I think there's some resentment from some people that he's at the racetrack. But this is a lifetime goal for him. I mean, this is a passion that he has. And somebody brought that up. He's very passionate hunter.
Absolutely.
He's very passionate about racing. He's just as passionate as you are about racing. Is he at a different learning curve, at a different level? Yeah, he might be. But if you're better than he is, show us how much better you are by passing. And that's my
Can't
thing.
argue. No, you can't argue with that. Like I said, I mean, yes, I enjoy the bumping and banging, but and there too, I think some drivers, they talk about that of, say something happens at Daytona they aren't happy with. They know they can wait till a short track and it can be acceptable to have it happen there, and they can get their revenge without it being a black flag or NASCAR getting involved, because it's short track racing. That's where I have a little bit of a problem, holding on to it until you get to a short track because you know you can get away with it.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I want to say, who do you think you are?
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Because I think you have a very high opinion of yourself, maybe, that others don't necessarily share. Okay. Missed opportunities for Truck Series regulars. Lost chance at valuable chase momentum. Still had strong runs, but couldn't seal the deal. Series point standings. We'll cover that next. And now face increased pressure heading into upcoming races. So we'll see who moved up or down in the points standings here in the Truck Series. And Jay, you want to cover the points here?
I would love to, but right now I would love for my computer to quit being touchy. I am trying to bring up the Truck Series points, and I'm trying very hard not to lose my temper and tongue as it is working on that. All right. Sharon's getting up the NASCAR one there.
I'll make it bigger. Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned this. I know that was one of the headlines I saw right away. Chandler Smith now back into the points lead again. He had the DQ dropped, I believe, 17 points back. Caden Honeycutt having his rough week, as well as then Corey Heim. Now 4 back again. He is not a regular, even though he's collecting Truck Series points, not in all the races. He's got 4, will not be eligible. So Chandler Smith up by 1 point. Corey Heim still there at -4, as is Lane Riggs, who also had the tough day. Christian Eckes capitalize on it. He is now within 17. And we talked about Gio Ruggiero moving up and becoming a weekly top 5 contender. And I like it. You're talking about, let's see, he's what, 6? -21. That is less than half a race. Ty Majeski at -26. Ben Rhodes -27. All okay. Jake Garcia and Justin Haley. It does go all the way through the top 10, which is your chase cut line. Technically, mathematically, that is within 1 points race. Stuart Friesen outside the cut line. Well, again, actually technically is in because Corey Heim isn't eligible. So Stuart Friesen would technically be the cut line at -68. Tyler Ankrum -71. Max points being 76. Realistically, mathematically anyway, all within 1 points race. I love that. You want to talk about that competition? I like that. I mean, I hate to see somebody like Caden Honeycutt, Lane Riggs have these bad days, but look at what it does. You're talking about 1 race worth of points amongst all 12 drivers that are looking for a chase spot. I love that. I can't help it.
Highly competitive.
Exactly.
Okay. Your movers up and down. We'll go with the down drivers first. Tyler Ankrum dropped 1. Stuart Friesen dropped 2. Ty Majeski dropped 2. Lane Riggs dropped 1. Corey Heim dropped 2. Chandler Smith, on the other hand, moved up 3. Christian Eckes moved up 2. Jake Garcia moved up 4 spots. So that was a big day for him. Tanner Gray moved up 1. Brendan Queen moved up 3. So that he's moving in the right direction. Daniel Hemrick up 2. Biggest mover, Dawson Sutton, moved up 6 spots. So he was further back. Minnie Terrell moved up 3 spots, and Corey LaJoy moved up 4 spots. Luke Baldwin, I don't know, was he at this race? He moved up, but he moved up 5 spots. So some big movers here, Jet.
Now, one thing I want to mention there, if I'm not mistaken, Corey LaJoy has also, where is he at? I know you just mentioned him, on the moving up list.
Yeah, Dawson Sutton.
Okay, so he does only have 4 starts. And I would stand behind my decision again. Yes, he got put in that position of taking over a ride. He is now on Truck Series points. That will be for owner points only. He will not be eligible as a driver. I initially was looking at that and thinking, I wonder if he can get in the chase. But being that he is missing 2 races, NASCAR, the rule is you are not eligible. And I like Corey LaJoy, but again, they better not give him a waiver under the situation because it's not right with the rules. If you want to change the rules next year, so be it. But for this year, Corey LaJoy as a driver is not eligible. But we're talking about the Dodge Ram team getting that truck into the chase. And we've seen that before. We saw it last year actually with Stuart Friesen, Halmar Racing. The truck can be eligible, but not the driver. The driver eligible, but not in the same truck he drove early in the year. It happens. So I want to see if he can get in. He's in 28th. You mentioned climbing 4 spots. He is full-time in that ride now, but was not to start the season. The other one you mentioned, Dawson Sutton, that 6th position climb up to 19th at 89 points. He is, let's see, 34. Yeah. What's that? No, I was trying to do the math on the points of 11 and 23 at 34 points out from the cut line. He is one that I believe at one point was a dead last in the full-time drivers. So to see him climbing, turning his season around, I like to see that. Grant Enfinger, unfortunately, his is 1-2 steps forward, 1-2 steps back. And this week was a backward steps of -3.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I like seeing that Dawson Sutton is doing so well this year. And, I was going to point out here, Ram, up 4 spots for Corey LaJoy. Daniel Dye's no longer driving. Minnie Terrell, up 3 spots for Ram. Brendan Queen, up 3 spots for Ram. And then Justin Haley, already in 10th place. No movement, but he's still in 10th place.
And they did have all their trucks inside the top 20. Again, it was in that 10th to 19th range. So trying to look positively. Again, I would like to see them winning races. And Hunter Blaze shows up there, Ty Majeski and Tyler Ankrum. The other one that I got to put on that list of at least looks like maybe turning it around is Ben Rhodes. He started out in the 2nd position, running strong behind Corey Heim and looking, right there with Caden Honeycutt. And he had dropped down so far. Looks like he's starting to level out and pick it up. And yes, with the chase, you have that opportunity now that's what it's about. But you got to now stay consistent, good or better, because as these other teams we're talking about that are creeping up and getting better, and I'll look at that overall when we talked at the O'Reilly and Cup Series of it's tough to gain on these guys that are running top 5 every week. Even if you're in the top 5 now, you're not gaining a whole lot. You got to be that much better than them. And if they're at the top 5, you're in a world of hurt.
Yep. Hunter says Ty Majeski and Tyler Ankrum do not look good this season at all. And then he went on to say they gave Kyle Larson the waiver when he tried to do the back-to-back with Indy 500, but couldn't make the Cup race due to Indy 500 being delayed. Yes, they did.
All right, just to tie in real quick with that, that was pre-coordinated. Obviously, the first year it was a concern.
Yes.
They figured it. That is a special event. It was not pre-approved, but pre-coordinated. You know, they knew they were going to do it. They knew they were going to ask for the waiver. They did anticipate it. But if you notice, NASCAR did address it. If that is the case, you will lose all your playoff eligible points, which honestly, though, no longer is applicable because we don't have the playoff points anymore. So I don't know how that would play out this year if that were the case. But NASCAR's made it clear they want your priority to be whatever series you are running full-time in. I know that having a baby, a family emergency, health issues, I'm trying to think one of the broadcasters today, right, broken leg, ran through, but lack of sponsorship was not one of them, you know, and that's where Corey Haim kind of fell in. Not having a ride for a particular race was not one of them. And that's where Grant Enfinger fell in a couple years ago.
Yep. All Sports says, yeah, because he attempted the race. And then he went on to say, and NASCAR would have looked so dumb having him get denied from the playoffs.
I agree. I think they made the right decision in that case. And that was one of those of, you know, the publicity with it of running both. And yeah, they did everything they possibly could to get him there and get him in the car to start the race and whatnot. So I think they made the right decision in that case, but they did amend the rules after it because they weren't particularly happy with it.
Yeah, that's true, Hunter. Honeycutt almost had that problem last year, needing to find a new ride. But it did work out for him.
I'm trying to remember the team, if that was that a Rium Brothers, because he was with Nice Motorsports.
Yep.
Got let go. He got one ride with somebody, and then he moved into the Friesen Halmar truck. There was one team that he pretty much did have to buy a ride for just to maintain Okay, thank you, All Sports All Day. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Yep. Young Motorsports. I knew it was one of the underfunded teams.
Yep, yep. Okay, we're going to move on here because we're running out of time real quick. We still got 3 other series to do here. Let's see. We did the points. Now, so some of these teams that aren't doing well are going to be under the pressure. Takeaway with Cup driver taking the win. Several full-time truck contenders lost their chance at a better race. I'll just say it was a survival race emphasized over pure speed. Truck stayed clean. The trucks that stayed clean moved forward. Attrition played a major role in the finishing order. Strategy, patience, and positioning mattered as much as raw pace. This is a consistent theme in the series. And it goes back to what we've been talking about. Those drivers who took care of their equipment, showed the respect on the track, and passed guys by using their talent, they're usually there at the end and can contend. Bottom line, Bristol delivered exactly what you'd expect. Chaos, controversy, and a headline-stealing winner. Between a Cup Series driver, victory, high-profile incidents, and rising tempers, this race set the tone for a heated stretch in the Truck Series. That's true. And we'll talk about setting the tone for the next stretch in some of these other series as well.
Yeah, I think it does. And I think we covered all that, you know, depending on the team and where they were, that it did. Talking about the, you know, again, it's a short track, so survival does become a part of it. A lot of times you can survive by having a faster, you know, great speed, but that's not always the case, as we'll see in the other 2 series.
Okay. Let's move on to Victory Lane, because in the O'Reilly series, the driver in Victory Lane was Connor Zilisch, pulled off one of the biggest wins of the season, not by dominating, but by out-strategizing the field late in the race. And I think this is important because that same theme comes up in the Cup Series, and we'll be talking about this. Connor Zilisch steals one with strategy. He stayed out on the older tires with 30 laps to go, maintained track position on Bristol's tight half-mile track, held off a faster car behind him, and we'll go over the race results here in a minute. The takeaway, it's a statement win for Zilich, especially as he balances Cup struggles with his O'Reilly Auto Parts success. And getting to the points here, or to the results now for the, they took the results down. Let me go over here. Results for the O'Reilly series. Let's bring this up. I'm going to take that down.
I'm trying to get mine pulled up as well again. I was late getting home, but.
Okay. Connor Zilich doesn't get any points for this race. He did win by 0.703 seconds, and he did lead for 24 laps. Connor Zilich came in first, followed by Kyle Larson. Brent Cruz with a third place finish, the top finishing full-time, kind of full-time, O'Reilly Series driver. Justin Allgaier in fourth, Carson Kvapil in fifth, Sheldon Creed in sixth. William Sawalich had another great finish with a seventh place finish. Corey Day continues with his top 10 finishes with an eighth place finish. Parker Retzlaff in ninth, and Taylor Gray with a 10th place finish. I'm just amazed. Jay? Yeah,
this is one driving home. Like I said, I listened to it, was the replay. By the time I got on the road leaving the dirt track, I got home at 5:30 in the morning, slept a good part of the day. Want to watch on TV, because listening to it on the radio, I was having a tough time staying on the road because I was getting so excited with the action that was taking place. Yes, it was a strategy move, but also then you talk about going toe-to-toe with a Cup Series driver, which, yes, he is now as well, but rookie year, holding on and battling and really clean driving from what I heard on the radio, clean driving, clean battle, just out-raced them, and I think this was huge. And I mentioned it with Kyle Busch when it comes to the Truck Series. For Connor Zilich, that confidence of, hey, you can still drive a car. Yes, it's not the Cup car. Yes, you still have your struggles at the Cup level, but it just that reassurance that as a driver, you have the capability to get the job done, I think was huge.
It was huge. And I think these guys, if the Truck Series drivers watch what these guys did in this race, they will learn a lot. These guys show them how it can be done, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And Hunter Blaze saying Allgaier top 5 consistently. Yeah, that wasn't the one that Sharon hit on, but you're right. Another one. And that's not just been this year. That has been every year he's been in this series. But to highlight, you mentioned Brent Cruz, and we were talking about this for the trucks. Yes, Brent Cruz missed some races. He does have a waiver because his was for the age requirement, and NASCAR has opted in the past to give the waiver. You can't run until you're 18, cleared on all tracks until you're 18. Mm-hmm. If you miss the first couple, that they will grant the waiver. So we'll be watching that throughout the year of if he can get up into chase position, even being down a few races. And based on the results we're seeing, it's going to be close. I'll just say that. I don't know that it's a guarantee, but I think it's going to be close. But then you mentioned the ones that are just consistent. Carson Kvapil, another one, Sheldon Creed. Yes, I'm excited for William Sawalich. He had the pole, and I really thought maybe see a better showing of maybe going for a back-to-back. I'll take this. He was still within the top 10. He's on that streak of consistently up, not an up and down, a 1 or 2 good weeks and then the bad, rough weeks. To see that, I'm excited for that. And then you mentioned Corey Day, another one, along with Parker Retzlaff and that Viking Motorsports. And I'm really excited about that.
I am super excited about all of that. And you've got some of the regulars that have been around for a while. These guys were racing a Cup Series driver, one of the best Cup Series drivers out there, had a perfect streak going in the 88 car with winning every time he got in it. But these guys are showing him, and remember Kyle Larson's comments last year about he was going to go in and show these guys how it's done. I think these guys are showing him we can compete with you. And think about what a driver like Brett Cruz is learning from a driver like Kyle Larson. I think it's fantastic.
And that's where we talk about Brent Cruz taking away the confidence, even finishing third, because he was in there mixing it up with last year's rookie who won 10 races, a two-time Cup Series champion of Kyle Larson. Brent Cruz was right in there, and I think he said he kind of made a mistake. Again, listening to it on the radio, you don't necessarily see it, but he kind of was down on himself. But he's got to be thrilled with where they are right now, gaining points and heading in a very, very good direction. Like I said, I do think he has a shot at getting into the chase, even missing those couple of races.
Hunter says Connor driving an O'Reilly car is unstoppable, even versus SVG on road courses. And he is hard to beat in the O'Reilly series. He is a tough competitor. But it's a confidence booster to what Jay said earlier, for him to come into the series and get those wins when he's struggling with the next gen car in the Cup Series. And we know that is a big learning curve for a number of drivers, including some of the best drivers we've had, Kyle Busch.
And that's one of those of, you can't answer what it does for a person individually, but I think we can understand that because, again, as you do struggle at the Cup level, it can beat you down. I think returning, just like when you are struggling, you have a good run, a 10th place may be that really turning point. Excuse me. So Jesse, I think this was really important for him.
It was. Jesse Lefat at 12th place finish, Sammy Smith in 13th. Raja Caruth was from the very back, and he raced up to a 14th place finish, which I think is great. Jeremy Clements, is this the... I'm getting my races mixed together now. Is this the one where he had that wreck and he came back for a 15th place finish?
I don't remember if they talked about that for Clement, but you mentioned Raja Caruth. That one was highlighted very much because, again, he is in that number 32 Jordan Anderson machine. That's what's needed. What we're Sharon, you and I talk about this all the time. Overcoming and making the most out of a day that wasn't your best day. And what was it? I think brakes or something they had to change and start at the back to fight back and just get into 15th. Again, it is with Jordan Anderson Racing. They've improved this year, but it is not Junior Motorsports that he runs with most of the year. So I think that was huge for Raja Caruth.
I do too. Austin Hill, surprisingly, with the 21st place finish at this track. Let's see. Greg Galding had that 28th place finish. We mentioned we hadn't seen him in a while. Looking for any others that we need to talk about. Any others stand out for you, Jay?
No, you talked about Greg Galding, and it's been 2 or 3 years. So again, just to show up and be able to make a good showing is a good thing, especially for Harman Racing in that number 74. And I don't know a status update. I know it shows Logan Bearden in the number 33rd spot. The number 42 had to get out of the car, some back problems, and I'm trying to remember now who stepped in to fill in for him. I'm going to look to the comment section here. Hunter Blazer, All Sports All Day. Who was it? Because that was when right as I got picked up on the radio. Did have a driver swap that filled in for him. Brad Perez, thank you. Thank you. All Sports All Day, you're on top of it.
Yes. And Mason Maggio, did you see the fire? I was
again. I heard it. Yeah, they were talking about it. I said I really wanted to watch this race.
Yeah, that was really something that he was able to get out of that as well as he did. Okay, let's move on to our next topic here. And congratulations to Connor Zilisch. Larson dominated but loses. Kyle Larson had the race in his control until it mattered most. He did lead 230 of 300 laps. He swept both stages, clearly the fastest car all night. The takeaway, the late strategy flip left him stuck in second. Another example of how Bristol rewards track position over raw speed. But it goes back to what you always say, Jay, and I'll let you say it again.
Yeah, here lately, being out front, throughout the race, you got to keep up with your car, and we saw that on 2 occasions. And I heard some of the chatter, and then the post race, Justin Allgaier was one of them that really debated about what to do. Didn't figure they were in position to make the no stop or 2-tire stop work, so they did go with the 4. But again, they knew then they were going to file Kyle Larson, because I honestly expected it, as did PRN coverage, surprised that Brent Cruz as well as Connor Zilisch were even able to hang with Kyle Larson. The fact that he had that dominant car, came in and took 4 tires, and there were only, 3 or 4 that didn't, felt like it should have just been run away and put them behind him, but they hung tough with it. Cleanly, I might add. From what I heard.
Yes.
From what I heard. Again, I haven't watched it, but it sounded like it was a clean race.
Yeah. All Sports All Day says one of the biggest fires I've seen in a while. Me too. That was scary to me. And then Hunter says, I was at the Daytona race many years ago when Juan Pablo Montoya hit the jet dryers. What a fire. That was a blaze. Yeah, I remember watching that and just being amazed that even happened.
That was, sorry.
Yeah, but I just was very scared for Mason Maggio when I saw that fire, and the safety crew was right there and did respond very quickly. So kudos to them as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, but you're right. Everybody was saying that is the biggest and worst that we've seen in a while. I think back to Jordan Anderson in the trucks, where he had to get out and actually got kind of pinched in the wall just because he was trying to get out of the truck. But you go back to that Juan Pablo, that one, honestly, to me, thank the Lord that wasn't any worse, because again, that was with the truck, not a fuel truck, but the jet dryer, which is carrying fuel. And what you saw from the speed shot was him go up, knowing the truck had just passed, and then him go up, and all you see is the blaze of fire. You didn't know what had happened other than it was bad. Could have been so much worse, honestly.
Yes. And I thought you were going to go with, the fact that you can't keep up with the changes to change your car when you are up in front all race long, and then you get back in traffic and you can't figure out how to get around them.
And I don't know. I didn't hear Kyle Larson's post race on the O'Reilly parts, if that's what the case was with that. Certainly, like I said, and I was one of them, would have thought it would have just been, hey, you took a shot, it's not going to work out, blow the doors off of you. But that shows the talent as well as what these drivers are learning. You mentioned it earlier, his comments of, I want to go down and embarrass them so they know what they're up against come Sunday. Well, I think they're showing them, hey, we can hang with you. We may not be able to at the cup level like Connor Zilisch. They're not there yet.
It's a different car.
Yeah, like you said, it's a statement of, I'm coming, I'm here.
Well, and I think it's important to remember, too, there was something I was going to say, and now it's escaping me. I got sidetracked, and I forgot what I was going to say now. I'm sorry.
One of the things you have it written here is the key. It's everything. Tire fall off as well as then clean air. And that's what I said. I don't know if that's what happened with Kyle Larson's. And obviously he likes to rip the wall, as they say, run right up on that ragged edge, an inch off the wall. I think the drivers know that and know how to not block it of a bad block, but take away their line, make him search and find a different place. And maybe his car just wouldn't find another groove to complete that pass. So I think it was good on him.
Yeah, and we'll move on from the Larson dominating then. The strategy over the speed, the race was a perfect reminder of Bristol's evolving identity. The tire fall off plus the clean air is everything. Crew chief calls mattered more than outright pace and track position late. You got to have fresh tires. Do you have to have fresh tires? Because I think all of a sudden everything's, what's his name? Zilich was on older tires.
But there is, yes, the crew chief either gets the kudos or the blame, depending on how it turns out. But it also falls on the driver, and a driver like Connor Zilich. And we saw that, especially when it comes to road course racing, managing your tires, knowing that you are. And we'll talk about it with Ty Gibbs when we get to the cup level. Yep. Of knowing that and showing that talent of to be able to handle the car, handle having a top level driver that's been the dominant car behind you, hunt you down and not lose your focus. I think it was, like you said, just an absolute huge statement, as well as then confidence booster. Yes, the crew chief gets the call or the credit. A couple of them I heard where it was the drivers that were saying, "Hey, I think I can do this. Don't make me come in. Well, if you say I have to, I will." Yeah. You hear that back and forth. It's a team effort. We'll talk about that. Pit crew plays a factor too for some teams.
Yes, indeed. Larson did the same thing 2 days in a row, dominated and then lose at the end. Yep.
Yeah, and that's one of feel bad for him. It's good to see him running top 5, top 2, leading and dominating. But here recently, and it seems like I would say on the short tracks maybe more so than others, but to be out front all race, yeah, I don't know if that's where you want to be. Sounds wrong, but it's come out that way lately.
It's come out that way lately for sure. Junior Motorsports strength continues. Junior Motorsports is flexing their muscles. Another win added to their 26 total. Multiple cars in contention again. Zilich becomes their 4th different winner this season. The takeaway, they're quickly becoming the benchmark team in this series. They started that last year, and it is continuing right into this year again, Jay.
I mean, the stats don't lie. How else can you say it? 4 of the top 5, and they have 5 cars. 4 of them were in the top 5. Brent Cruz, the one in between them in 3rd. Their 5th car, Sammy Smith, finished 13th. That means all 5 of theirs were in the top 13. You don't get much more dominant than that.
Okay, Hunter, I want a little clarification. I can't understand how he's favored to win the cup race and hasn't won in 30 races. Chevy is horrible this year. He is. Are you talking about Larson?
Yeah, that's Larson.
On a losing streak. You're right. He's on a winless streak and hasn't won in quite a few races. If Larson is the guy that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I know I looked at that and we're not to the cup side yet, but it's still Kyle Larson. Back in the day, it was Kyle Busch. You put him in a go-kart with no wheels. Kyle Busch is still the favorite just because of the talent. And we know what kind of talent Kyle Larson has. So, yes, there's a reason he's still the odds-on favorite.
Yep. Okay, again, I just think Junior Motorsports has really figured out some great things. They are in alliance with Hendrick Motorsports, but they are definitely becoming the standard bearer in this series. But Toyota did break through last week with William Sawalich. And even in O'Reilly, he says, yes, even in O'Reilly. And I do think that, Junior Motorsports is just phenomenal, that what they've been accomplishing in that series.
And look at it this way, Hunter Blazer, of did he win the race? No. Did he dominate that race? Yes. What was it? 230 out of the 300. Got a little bit, I'll call it snookered at the end, or, it just didn't play out.
Strategy versus speed.
It wasn't like he lost badly or anything at the end, just didn't get the win. So, yeah, that's going to continue to carry him as an odds-on favorite, even though he didn't get the win.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, young stars and proven veterans. The race showcased a compelling mix. Young talents like Connor Zilic and Brent Cruz fighting up front. Veteran level talent like Kyle Larson dominating most of the race. This dynamic continues to define the 26th season. Rising stars learning how to beat elite competition, not just match them. And that goes to what we started with in this series. And I think we've kind of talked about this already. The guys in the O'Reilly series are there to race these Cup Series drivers that come into the series, and they're doing well at it. The points battle is tightening up with Justin Allgaier still leading the standings. The Bristol race added pressure behind him. Consistency remains key in the new era. Multiple winners early in the season. We'll go over the points here in just a couple seconds. No runaway chase favorite yet. Takeaway, the depth of contenders is making this one more competitive title fights one of the more competitive title fights in recent seasons. But let's take a look at the points here.
I am going to disagree with those statements.
Okay.
And this was one I kind of had in my mind already, just thinking about it, listening to the race and the results. I hadn't looked at the math here, but it will back itself up. Let me pull the results.
Let's go over the points and prove your point.
Okay. Justin, okay.
Okay, it should be up here. Justin Allgaier is clearly in the lead.
And that's where I'll go. I'll read them first and then go and back up my point of what I wanted to say. Justin Allgaier is your leader, does have the 3 race wins as well as 3 stage wins. Sheldon Creed second at a gained A position, now at minus 130. And that's behind the leader, 130 points, almost 2 races. Jesse Love lost the spot, goes back to minus 146. Corey Day and Carson Cavapel each climbed up 1. You mentioned Austin Hill having that 21st place finish. And again, I know short tracks isn't his forte per se, but you see what impact that had as he did lose 2. Corey Day and Carson Cavapel each sliding up 1. Sammy Smith, Brandon Jones, Parker Retzlaff, all maintain points positions. I just want to be clear on that. Their points position. William Sawalich, again, climbed 1 over Rajah Caruth, but Caruth, honestly, like I said, did what he needed to do for the day overall, even though it cost him that 1 spot. William Sawalich getting himself another top 10. Then you got Taylor Gray in the 12th spot, and this is the cut line at 230 points. He is 28 points above Ryan Sieg. And Ryan Sieg is one of those of right there on a weekly basis now, top 10 to 15, good day, close to the top 5, has had a couple of runner-up finishes and shots at the win. Sam Mayer is the one that, unfortunately, and he lost another spot this week. Sieg moved up to 1 to 13th. Sam Mayer down 1. Been on a downward trend a lot as of late. Then you got the only other ones here that moved. Jeb Burton and Anthony Alfredo each swapped. Burton up 1 to 16th, Alfredo down. Brent Cruz, again, 5 races out of the 9. He does have the waiver and will be eligible. Climbed another 2 positions. Is at 155, which means he is 45 and 30, 75 points from the cut line. It's growing. Although he's gaining points positions, I think it was 71 last week and is now 75. You got to be gaining on these, and that's where I'll go back to. Any others? -1. Kyle Sieg gained 3. Josh Bilicki gained 1. Austin Green wasn't in the race. Oh, I'm sorry, he was. Oh, he still dropped 2. Oh, unfortunately, Nick Sanchez is one that wasn't in the race and lost too. So those were your up and down movers there. But going back to what you read, and I understand how they're spinning it, being that it wasn't Justin Allgaier winning, but when you look at it, he finished fourth. The only one that gained points on him was Brent Cruz, who was minus five races, because he finished fourth. You got to be out there winning the races, getting those 15 bonus points to be gaining on him, because he is solidly running, as Hunter Blazer mentioned earlier, consistently top 5. How do you gain points on somebody that's running top 5 and winning races of their own? He's gotten his share of those extra points for winning races. Yeah, you're in a world of hurt. So he too, I believe the points gap went from 126 to 130. So you really aren't gaining on him, honestly.
Yep, that's true. Okay, I don't know why my screen keeps getting smaller here.
That's good. That's good. I thought it was my eyes. I thought I was getting tired. I thought it was my eyesight.
Okay. Are you seeing the same thing, that it's real small?
Yeah, it did seem like it shrunk.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening, and I don't know how to get it bigger. I'm trying to make it bigger, and I can't. Okay.
Now, go ahead. Well, reading the other part, that was the only part I had a key issue with. Is there a runaway chase favorite yet? Yes and no. I would say that Allgaier is looking good, and fully anticipating him maintaining that consistency throughout the chase when we get there, because that's what we've seen from Junior Motorsports over the last 3 years. So I would have to say he kind of is the favorite. However, with what we've seen from some other drivers, and I'll use Brent Cruz, his 5th race now, getting a 3rd place finish, mixing it up with Justin Allgaier, Kyle Larson, and Connor Zilisch, the Cup guys. We see him knocking on the door of could be a first-time winner yet this year, as well as then Carson Cavapo, Sheldon Creed, and William Swalett, Corey Day. Parker Retzlaff, I don't know if he's knocking on the door to win, but top 10's knocking him down. Well, we see this at the Cup. When you keep finishing in the top 10, top 5, that win is going to come. Are they there over that next hump yet? Not quite, but they are definitely getting closer. So be careful. Don't count them out.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Justin Allgaier is doing very well in this first half of the season. It's hard to maintain that for an entire season. So we'll see how he does throughout the remainder of the season. If he keeps winning races, it's going to be tough to beat him. And this could be the runaway title contender that we're looking at. But I do think that there are people who are knocking on the door here. And I think we're going to see other drivers like William Swalett get that breakthrough. I think there's a lot of learning going on in the Xfinity series, which I think is a good thing as well. I think having a driver like Connor Zilisch in that series last year really helped a lot of these other drivers be better drivers.
And the one thing I'll say, and I want to knock on wood, and I don't want to have what we like to call the dirt track world, the announcer curse. I've heard it on the Cup level a couple of times too, but last year we saw it where Justin Allgaier was the one that had the dominant car, would sweep both stages, be in position to win, and then something happened where he wouldn't get the finish. We haven't seen that yet this year, and hopefully we don't. I don't want to put no evil on anybody, but we haven't seen that out of him yet this year. It's been a couple other drivers that have had it.
Well, and this brings us to the bottom line in the O'Reilly series. Bristol is proving that in 26, the O'Reilly series is about execution, not domination. Kyle Larson equals speed. Zilisch equaled execution. The result was the upset win over the Cup Series driver.
But again, it wasn't like Larson's team didn't execute something. They came off pit road as the first one to take 4 tires. Should have played out a little differently. I'm amazed because, like I said, I fully expected it to be, those guys got smoked and the 2-tire or no tire thing didn't work. But kudos to them. They made it work.
They did indeed. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next series here. We're going to take this down. Okay, the next, and we're going to put up our victory lane again because we had a first-time winner in the O'Reilly series, Jay. Did you get a chance to see this one?
This one I did not at all, honestly. This one, everything I got was through the ARCA Menard series site.
You're going to pick up pretty quick what happened here. Cole Denton breaks through in dominant fashion. He scored his first career ARCA West victory in just his third start. He didn't just win, he dominated, leading 127 of 150 laps from the pole. He controlled the race and held off late pressure, signaling a potential new contender emerging early in 2026. And we'll go over the race results here for the ARCA West Series. Give me just a minute to get it up. And the results. Complete results from Tucson.
This is one, if you have heard anybody talk about Cole Denton as a driver, that we knew was possible to happen whenever it did happen this weekend, that everybody you talked to said, hey, he's got the talent. Once he gets in the groove, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. And it did happen. There's a little bit of footage of that race at Tucson Speedway. You can see it's a short track. And he's contending there with Trevor Huddleston in that blue and red car. And that's Cole Denton up there in the yellow car. He did come out first. His lead, though, at the end of this race was 1.568 seconds over Trevor Huddleston, who is the veteran in this series this year. Eric Johnson came in third place. Then it was Robbie Keneally in fourth. And I would have picked those four drivers to be in the top four, Jay.
Yeah, overall, I think that's what, the cream rising to the top of the ones that were there. Maybe not in the order we thought they would be. And the one thing I took away of this was the exception to the rule of recent trends of dominating and winning. So I'm happy for them. I always love seeing the first-time winners. You only get to see it once, if you will. And knowing what that brings for the future of racing as we see them go for the ARCA West and then where they move up and continue to progress into higher tiered platforms.
Now, Gavin Ray finished, rounded out the top five. Then it was Eric Reed in sixth place. Haley Deegan came home with that seventh place finish. Mia Lavelle in eighth. And Memphis Villarreal in ninth place, and Julian DaCosta rounds out the top 10 here. So some Mason Massey, who won that first race, was in 12th place. And I think Jade Avedizian, she must have had something happen. She was 89 laps down and finished dead last.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what they said the issue was. I do remember hearing something about that. Of what the issue was, not to finish there for that Central Coast Cabinets Toyota.
Okay. So I think, he pretty much dominated the race. I think he had the pole too.
Is that what? Yeah, I don't remember. I think what you said as far as that. But there again, and we are talking about the West, Trevor Huddleston obviously is a veteran driver of the West Series. To hold him off, even there at the end, tells you something of that. Trevor Huddleston is one of the most consistent ARCA West drivers coming off the championship. You got to feel good of not just winning the race, but beating one of the best in that series.
Yeah, he was the pole sitter. And he was able to beat the reigning ARCA West Series champion, Trevor Huddleston, So Eric Johnson, 2 consecutive top 5 finishes at Tucson Speedway. Robbie Keneally right up there in the top 5. Go ahead.
I was going to say that was my other highlight for me. Eric Johnson Jr. I know we've had him on the show again, a little bit of a biased or favoritism, but seeing him consistently knocking on the door in contention, and not having that 1 week of a top 5, the next week at the bottom. Seeing that consistent week in and week out.
Yeah, and this is another example of one of the younger rookie type drivers coming up with the win against a previous points champion. Trevor Huddleston did charge hard in the closing laps, but came up just short in second. His runner-up finish keeps him at or near the top of the championship standings, reinforcing consistency. And Huddleston is shaping up as a weekly threat and possibly the driver to beat for the title.
Yeah, that's one where, again, it's a little early to be predicting or giving it to somebody of putting their name on the trophy beforehand. But I do believe to get that championship, you're going to have to go. I got on sharing this the other night. Go through Trevor Huddleston. Don't run through him, but contend with him and beat him. And Cole Denton did this weekend.
He certainly did. And there is a trend of this next generation coming up through the ranks very quickly. We saw Connor Zilic do it last year in the O'Reilly series and so on. Now the championship picture is tightening up early. Through 3 races, the points battle is already competitive. So let's take a look at the points report, Jay. And I'll change the screen here from the points.
There we go. Thank you.
That's not the points there, but we're going to, up here, I'm going to go, I hate that it does that.
Okay, well, I got mine up from ARCA. Yeah, mine was taking a minute to load. As Sharon's getting it up there, I'll start going over it. 3 races in, Trevor Huddleston is your points leader by 5 points over Mason Massey, who does have a win in 2 top 10s, saw where he was a little bit further down this past week, and that's how competitive it is. Haley Deegan in third, minus 15, and then Eric Johnson Jr., I said running consistently. That is his first top 5, top 10 of the season, but is only 18 points back. Cole Denton now moves up into the 5th spot and 20 points back. Now, again, the ARCA Menard Series also, I believe, awards points for the pole, and he does have that pole position, so adds a couple more points. Then you got Robbie Keneally at minus 24, Andrew Chapman minus 33, Gavin Ray, Neil Lovell, and Jade Avedizian, and two other drivers, David Smith in 12th and Julian DaCosta are the ones that have made all 3 starts, 2 of them outside the top 10. That's how competitive it is. But keep in mind, there are 3 races in out of, I believe the schedule is 11 races for the ARCA Menards West Series. So you can't give up a lot of points this early because there isn't that many races to be making them up.
And I will say, Trevor Huddleston at the top of the point standings does show some really good indications of being the one to beat this year. He's got an average finish at 3.3. The next closest to him is Mason Massey at a 6.0. So, and then those that are under 10, Haley Deegan at an 8.0 and Eric Johnson Jr. at a 9.0. Those are the top 4 drivers. Everybody else is in double digits.
And you broke it down there with the actual stat of the average finish. I was looking under the category of top 5s, all 3 finishes, obviously, then in the top 5. You know, we saw that on the east side of that can get you a championship versus the wins. I know Mason Massey, great story coming out, getting the first win of the year, talking about the championship. Then he's still in contention, but you've got to be consistent week in and week out. In a series like this, I think last year we looked at it, even a finish of 8th, 9th, or 10th was what took you out of the championship hunt, because drivers like Trevor Huddleston, their bad days is 5th, 6th, or 7th.
Yeah, and you know, you look at other drivers too. Huddleston does lead the points, but Mason Massey, Haley Deegan, Eric Jensen Jr. remain in close pursuit. Denton's win vaults him into the mix. He's 5th on that series point standings, adding another name to the deepening title fight.
It does, and that's where the winning does matter, because you get a little bit more points. But consistency, when we're talking about season-long total points, and we're kind of going back to that on the NASCAR's top 3 platforms with the chase format, that is huge of consistency. I look at Haley Deegan, 3 races, 2 top 10s, that average finish of 8.0, and that puts her right in the middle of that mix at -15. Yeah, you want to see the wins, but the consistency, don't get turned in a bad day, because you won't have the time to recover.
So I do think Eric Johnson Jr. is still knocking on the door. I'm really waiting for his breakthrough victory, because I think it's coming, Jay.
Yeah, I think so too. There's several that are there, have been in contention. And again, of how long does it take if you're finishing top 5, top 10, week in and week out? You know, that win is right there. Whether it be outright speed, a strategy call, or being able to capitalize on somebody else's misfortune. Not that I'm wishing that on anybody. Don't get me wrong with that.
I will say one thing that I don't think is good news for the competition is that Denton has that ability to manage his tires while maintaining pace. I think that was a difference maker for him and I think it was something that was unexpected at Tucson. I don't think anybody expected the rookie to be the guy to be out front and keep his tires clean and finish that race out front.
But as you mentioned, Sharon, with this youth movement, I think we are seeing more and more of that. And just from my personal direct involvement with it, I go back to Todd Gillen, Harrison Burton, when they came through these West and East series. That was a big key factor with them, was that ability to manage their car. They wouldn't necessarily go out. In this case, I think it's even more prevalent to talk about it with Cole Denton, because he did it up front. I think back to Gillen, he would run 2nd or 3rd, and then at the end come on strong because he had saved his tires. For Cole Denton to be able to do it out front and still hold off Trevor Huddleston at the end there makes it a little bit more, even more so impressive.
Yes, yes. And Haley Deegan, I'm noticing a difference in Haley Deegan this year. When she came through the series before, there was a lot of flashiness going on. This year, she is being a little more focused on her results rather than being a female in the series.
Well, and just as a driver, I think that's one of those that maybe she was that heavy on the throttle, go out and outright speed dominate if possible, and then not get the finish, versus, hey, let me control the car and my equipment and get a good solid finish no matter what. I think that's the change you're seeing with her driving style. And
I think that she's getting better results as a result.
Absolutely.
The big picture takeaway: a new winner emerges in Denton. The title fight is wide open early. Veterans like Huddleston remain steady, and young drivers are continuing to rise to the challenge.
I agree. Everything there. And we kind of highlighted all of that. I think that is all very true. And looking forward to these other 8 races, if that's what it is, here in the ARCA West. And it looks like All Sports said he'll probably watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, I know he mentioned earlier that he had not watched it yet. Okay, let's move on to the Cup Series and another Victory Lane guy. And that is Ty Gibbs in Victory Lane this weekend in the Cup Series for his very first winning. First-time winner in the series, emotional victory for NASCAR and the Gibbs family. A strategy call in the closing laps made the difference, and he made the call. He told his crew chief, I do not want to lose this track position. And so we will get into the race results here as well. So, oh boy, I'm having trouble navigating my screens here.
Flipping the screens tonight, huh?
Yeah, my computer's not cooperating either. Okay. Now then, we're going to go to the Cup Series and the results.
And this is one where I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but you're right, of that driver call, confidence in himself, knowing maybe that he had saved or could save, because he is one we've seen in the past. And I think back, that was the year there was a little bit of a tire issue at Bristol, and the veteran of Denny Hamlin showed it. Ty Gibbs was heavy on the throttle and burned up his tires. To see that maturity and gain that knowledge, and here recently, don't think this was a surprise. If you listen to Sharon and I's preview the other night, he was listed as a sleeper. And I said, I don't know if at Bristol for sure you can mark him as a sleeper. And I've talked about it all night. This didn't just happen out of nowhere. He has been top 6 in the last several races, no matter what track they've been at. So, yeah, this wasn't out of nowhere. It was coming. It was coming.
He was knocking on the door. He did gain 59 points. There's a total of 76 available in every race. He got 59 of the 76 points. His win margin was 55 thousandths of a second, and he led only 25 laps. So Ty Gibbs was your number 1 guy. Ryan Blaney came in second. Then it was Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, and Ryan Blaney. A lot of people didn't pick Ryan Blaney in this race, but he had some good stats. So I was happy to see him get that second place finish. A lot of people thought it was going to be Kyle Larson or Christopher Bell in this race. I was one who thought that Christopher Bell was going to do it. Tyler Reddick, who a lot of people didn't think would have a good race, had a fantastic finish in that 4th place finish. Chase Briscoe had a 5th place finish. Todd Gilliland, where did he come from? He had a 6th place finish in this race. Joey Logano was another one that they didn't expect to have a good run. He came in 7th place. Ryan Preece, RFK Racing, still having top 10 finishes with Ryan Preece. Denny Hamlin, who a lot of people expected to win, came in 9th place. Carson Hocevar continuing to show his prowess in that 10th place finish. Then it was Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, and Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, and JJ Allmendinger to round out your top 15 drivers here. Your thoughts, Jay? I think there were some surprises here.
Great on Ty Gibbs. Like I said, not exactly a surprise. It just an eventuality. I know they talk about that of getting your first win right around race number 100. I believe he was at like 130, 131. But just with his results here in the past 5 races, top 6 finishes, yes, it was coming. And Bristol, I gotta pull it up. What do we got here?
All Sports says, I mentioned how loud I screamed when Heim got wrecked because I picked him. I picked Gibbs, and I guarantee you I was screaming 5 times louder during that photo finish. Yeah, that was exciting.
Right, yeah, good. And I did have him, like I said, I didn't know about a race-winning pick, but certainly a contender and a possibility. I, too, was kind of leaning more towards Christopher Bell. But what I look at here, it's that same story we talked about earlier. Larson led 5 times, 284 laps. Blaney, 6 times for 190 laps. Those were your 2 dominant out front runners. And again, I'm not attacking or bashing. The statistics back it up for itself. Blaney's pit crew is killing him. They said minus 84 positions on the year that pit crew has cost him on pit road. Blaney is having to overcome that each and every week.
Yes. And you know that we talked about this. Ty Gibbs joins a pretty elite group of people who got their first time win at Bristol Motor Speedway. We talked about it in our preview show.
You're right. And that's a list of some legendary drivers to get their first at Bristol. That is no easy task. You said it was very emotional. And I'll say this, this is one of those of just to let you know the impact it has. Talking to a guy at a meeting I was at tonight, isn't necessarily a NASCAR fan, a real heavy NASCAR fan, but had his ESPN Sports app, and it brought up Gibbs, and he was asking me, knowing who I was and what I do. He's like, "Hey, is this Joe Gibbs?" He asked about son. I said, "No, it's a grandson." So got to talking. Just that name, whether you're a race fan or not, is drawing attention, to the sport. So things like that have a great impact on the sport of NASCAR.
And him driving his mom in the car back to Victory Lane, that was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen a mom before. We see a lot with the kids, but yeah, that was, yes. I think, first time for a mom.
But I think it was well done as far as doing that. And I was real proud of Ty Gibbs, and he should be thrilled with that win. So I was very excited. We mentioned both of us thought that Christopher Bell would have a better race. Christopher Bell did not have the race we were expecting. He ended up in 27th. He was running, though. Noah Gregson ran pretty well in the early part of the race, but he ended up in 26th. William Byron, a stat we read in our preview show, has never led a lap at Bristol. Shocked the both of us, right, Jay?
And that did not change this past weekend. I know earlier, I don't remember if it was Hunter or All Sports All Day talking about the Chevy. This is something of, yes, I see, again, didn't get the win, so those stats will continue. They ran good. I'd take that. At least Kyle Larson did. I have my own thought there of why only one out of the four Hendrick Motorsports. But the other storylines just from the top 10 real quick there, obviously a good story with Ty Gibbs, Blaney and Larson being two annual championship contenders. Mentioned Tyler Reddick. Short track's not his thing. Started second, had a little bit of a rough stretch in the middle, but then came back and finished fourth. Chase Briscoe turning that season around, and I got to wait and look and see when we get to the points of the climb. Todd Gillen, that was a strategy call. I believe is one that maybe didn't take any tires at the end there, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Was again solid run. Started 35th, had gotten up towards the front, made the call to stay out and take that sixth place finish. And again, that was no easy task of even maintaining that, because you had a couple drivers really get around him. I think he was fourth. Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe got around him, but to hold his ground. And I mentioned that seeing it from his K&N at that time is what it was, of knowing how to hold and manage that equipment. Did he hold off all of them? No, but he didn't also drop like a rock. So good on him for that team. That was a much needed boost. Then you got Joey Logano, kind of had that up and down several weeks. But I look at RFK, Ryan Preece, the best of them in 8th, Chris Buescher 13th, and Brad Keselowski 14th. Sharon, you hit on that. Again, they are just so consistent, not all in the top 10, but right around it week in and week out. I think this was the first week that Brad Keselowski did not finish in the top 10. I think I remember him saying that there were only a couple drivers that had been in the top 10 every week, and that Brad Keselowski now no longer a part of that list.
Okay. So, yeah, I thought that was really, really good. And then, hold on. I'm really struggling with these screens here tonight. Riley Earps ran up front early. So did Josh Berry. And I think they got caught up in some things and ended up falling back. These are the guys. Alex Bowman came back and ran into some problems. Not of his own doing. He got knocked out of the race. But it was good to see Alex Bowman come back.
It was, and the same thing there. You mentioned with Christopher Bell, he wasn't listed as out, but he was involved in a couple of ping pong ball situations off the wall, off some other cars. So thus did not have the good. But I also don't think he had the race-winning car that I expected him to have.
No, I don't think so. Kyle Busch ended up in 25th. I just wish it would be over for Kyle Busch. I feel so bad for him. I think it will be over at RCR by the end of this season.
Well, I don't know if that one's looking down your list of the outline, but yeah, we'll get to Kyle Busch and Riley Herbst you mentioned there.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and stop sharing. I'm kind of racing through this because we are running out of time. Short track produced back under microscope. I don't know what I meant there. Bristol always sparks debate, and this one likely did again. Tire wear versus track position was a major talking point. If passing was limited, as in recent Bristol spring races, expect renewed criticism of the next-gen short track package. And I do want to talk about that because they also had a new tire compound this weekend as well. If tire fall off return, the narrative flips to Bristol is back. The takeaway, either way, Bristol continues to be the centerpiece of NASCAR's short track discussion and that package.
Yeah, this is one I don't get real into and I understand where some feel maybe some races were less than exciting. I thought this was good, competitive racing. And yes, it took some strategy. The horsepower package, I don't know how that affected or played in. I think the tire was, and I think Goodyear did a good job. Yes, they used the sticky stuff compound, whatever you want to call it, traction compound. Yeah, I don't know if that's what it is now or not. But that played a factor. I mean, but again, then you work on your strategy. They talked about that of a couple of the cars. Kyle Larson being one of them, they said, yeah, we'll probably go up there pretty quick as soon as Kyle Larson does, which he probably will on lap 2. But we definitely saw the groove wear out. The weather was cooperative. That's something that, is outside of an element that can be controlled. If the temperature's low, which it was a few years ago, is what created that. But I think Goodyear does a good job of preparing as best they can for it.
All Sports All Day says Keselowski and Reddick are the only drivers not to finish outside the top 20. That's a good stat.
Okay, that's where it's at now. Yep, thank you. I knew that the top 10 deal was shot, so now we got 2 that are not outside the top 20. Thank you.
Okay, now dominance versus chaos. Which Bristol did we get? We did see Kyle Larson dominate, but we also saw some late race chaos and restarts.
I don't know if I'd call it chaos as much as the strategy, again, because it came down to tire choice. As you mentioned, it was Ty Gibbs, and that was one I knew where he was like, don't tell me to come in because I ain't listening.
Yeah, he made that clear. He was not going to lose that track position on his radio. And the crew chief said, I'm not arguing. All Sports All Day said it was a good race. It was a good race. Even though Kyle Larson dominated, I think we did see some good racing throughout the field. Ryan Blaney had to come back. As you said, his pit crew has lost him. I think they gave a stat. It's 80-some positions that he's lost on pit road.
I think it was total was up to 84 on the year. Yeah, 84 on the year. I don't remember how many specifically from this race at Bristol. It's not good, though. It's not good.
Okay, we got a new person here. Hi, Jamie Schweitzer. We're happy to see you from Lake Norman, North Carolina. Welcome to our show.
All right. Hi from. Oh wow, that's where all the drivers. Isn't that the lake? All right. Look at that.
Well, welcome and thank you for saying hello to us. We really appreciate that. So we hope you'll continue to join us.
And I'm jealous because, like I said, when I read that, I was like, wait a minute, that's the lake where all the drivers are.
Jamie Schweitzer. Okay, thank you, Jamie. All right, I do want to go to the points report. The chase format pressure is showing a little bit with the new 26 points heavy system. Consistency matters more than ever. Wins still matter, but not as a guaranteed playoff ticket. Strong top 5, 10 runs at a grind it out track like Briscoe are huge, like Bristol. I keep saying Briscoe, like Bristol are huge. Who's quietly building a points cushion? Who's already in trouble despite the decent speed? And we'll cover that with our points report here, Jay.
All right. Well, this is almost the same story as what I kind of said in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series in Justin Allgaier. Tyler Reddick is still your points leader, came out the gate strong with 4 wins, but doesn't have any stage wins. The points gap to Ryan Blaney in second is 62, just under 1 race. Blaney has 1 win, 1 race win, and then 1 stage win. Denny Hamlin, 1 win overall, 2 stage wins. Then you got Ty Gibbs, and Gibbs is one that moved up a couple positions with that victory, obviously getting 15 more additional points. But that's been over. He's been going 2-3 positions each and every week with those top 6 finishes. Now has 1 race win, 1 stage win, but again is 105 points out in 4th. Chase Elliott dropped 1 position. Kyle Larson, and this goes back to that storyline of just dominating but not winning. However, you see him moving up 3 points because he has been getting stage points with those dominating runs, and still getting a solid finish. But he's in 6th. No wins, no race wins, but 2 stage wins. William Byron dropped 2. Bubba Wallace picked up 3. And I had to look at where he finished because that was one I was looking at. He's been kind of free falling lately after running right with Tyler Reddick early in the year, 2nd in points, climbed up 3, so is now up to 8th. Mentioned Christopher Bell, dropped 2 with his rough finish. Then you get into the RFK Racing, maintaining Chris Buescher, the 10th spot. Brad Keselowski, even with that top, where did I put him? Yeah, top 15, 13th, 14th. He dropped 3 points positions with that solid run. I mean, that tells you a top 15 cost you 3 points position. Joey Logano stayed in 12th. He's recovered to level out. He had dropped, it's climbing back up. Carson Hocevar is another one, continually on the rise, up 2. Ryan Preece, again, just outside, but did lose a position. Daniel Suarez gained 1. Shane Van Gisbergen wasn't running great, but was decent, then ended up bad, dropped 2 positions. I still give him a big shout out for the year. He's 16th in points. He is the cut line now at 177. Chase Briscoe, this week is 4, which is a big gain. Been in a big time climbing, and right behind him, I didn't catch this one until I looked at the points tonight. Austin Cindric also right there now at my 172. They are 1 and 5 points behind the cut line. They were buried. I mean, they were in the 30s, low 30s early in the year. To see them back where they should be, honestly, not a surprise, but that's how hard you got to work week in and week out now. Michael McDowell dropped 2. Allmendinger stayed the same. Chastain, we could spend a good amount of time on Trackhouse Racing there, dropped 2. The only other one, this one's a little surprising. I would have thought he would gain more. Todd Gillen went up 2 positions with his 6th place run. I would have thought he would have gained more in that.
Well, it gets harder with the more races you get in.
Well, and that's true. The deeper you are, like I said, we've seen where Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric, they didn't do it in 1 week. They've had to do it over multiple weeks. But you got to get in that groove of it being consistent week in and week out. Yes. And then it gets down to, like you said, picking them off 1, 2 at a time. But still a great run and move for that Front Row Motorsports car of Todd Gilliland. The only other ones I see a couple of -2. John Hunter Nemechek and Noah Gregson, Riley Herbst. And Herbst, man, I know we're coming to the end here. Good run, bad finish. Hate it for him.
Yeah.
Hate it more for Kyle Busch as well, I guess. And honestly, that was one where I thought we were going to have some big controversy of Kyle Busch about cost Ty Gibbs that race. Could have.
So who would you say is quietly building a points cushion and who's already in trouble?
Well, early in the year, like I said, I didn't know if Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric were running good, not getting the finishes. If they were down too deep, they've proven, they got it back on track, going in the right direction. They are now in right at the bottom end of Chase contention. The question is, even if you get in 16th, 15th, or 14th points, it's no longer the win and you're in, you move on. Even from that position, those 10 races, can you make up what will be the points deficit when they reset to truly run for the championship? Yes, you're in that chase format, but do you have a legitimate shot? A lot of your broadcast experts are saying you need to be in the top 6 when you start the chase in order to really have a chance. Because look at what Tyler Reddick, the consistency, I think his worst finish. All Sports All Day, if you're still on here, jump in. Oh, she said you pronounced her name correctly. Good job. Schweitzer, okay. I believe Tyler Reddick's worst finish on the year is 12th, and I'm looking for All Sports All Day to stat check that and back me up or correct me either way. That's tough to, like I said, gain points on him. This week he was 4th. Who really gained points on him? Yes, Ty Gibbs did with the win. Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, though, 1 and 2 positions in front of them, you're not gaining a whole lot. Maybe 3 or 4 points depending on your stage points, which is where Kyle Larson has been with the sweep of the stages. But again, that might not be enough.
Yeah. Jamie says that Christopher Bell is struggling in Cup. Who will get the first win this year, Zilich or Busch?
Oh,
that's a good question, huh?
Ouch. Golly. And Jamie said Blaney gained 1 point. Okay. Yeah, and All Sports All Day says neither. Man, I don't know. I know I heard a lot of talk on what RCR should do. Swap and cruise, something. And I agree, they need to do something drastic. I will say this, listening to the in-car audio as they broke it down between Kyle Busch and his crew chief, Kyle Busch was the one trying to maintain sanity and saying, hey, fighting and arguing over the radio while we're racing doesn't help. But I also don't think going out and retaliating with 6 laps to go on a driver you're mad at is the best option either. But
no. The announcers did say that one was coming, that they'd been back and forth.
I get it, and I'm not saying it wasn't deserved, and Kyle was that was his spotter trying to calm the team down. Okay, I thought they gave credit to Kyle Busch being the one to say, hey, calm everything down.
Yeah.
Which did surprise me.
Yeah, I think it was the spotter too.
I got you. Okay.
But Kyle Busch was definitely upset in his car. And I think it showed with the retaliation.
I get that, but here's my thought on that. If we got a little bit of time to just talk about that, I get it, and he, in my opinion, it was rightly deserved. I think Riley had done him wrong earlier in the race, but Kyle Busch, okay, I'm going to spin this guy out. Did it just affect Riley Herbst? No, it almost cost Ty Gibbs his first win. Had it gone that way, and I'd have been Ty Gibbs, I wouldn't have been mad at whoever beat me to the line. I'd have went and found whoever brought out the caution, in this case, Kyle Busch, be like, what you doing taking that away from me with 5 laps to go?
Yes. Kyle Busch this is going to be a rough year for him, I think. I'll just say
it's not going to be. It already is.
Yeah, I think it already is a very rough year for Kyle Busch. Let's see, moving on here. tire wear strategy and pit calls. Bristol strategy always tells the story. Did teams short pit or stretch their runs? Were tire fall off and rubber buildup a factor? Yes. Did anyone gamble track position versus fresh tires? Yes. Ty Gibbs, for sure. Takeaway, crew chiefs, pit crews likely played a bigger role than usual if tire wear came into play. I think that the tire wear was in play, but the pit crews and crew chiefs did play a very big role. Ryan Blaney maybe could have won the race with a better pit crew, I think.
And this is where I like it, honestly. It is a total team effort. We've talked about that before. So yes, even though the crew chief, or in the case of Gibbs, the driver, taking the lead and making that call, but it is still, as we've said in the past, put it back in the driver's hands, because the driver still has to manage the car and those tires. And I look at Todd Gillen. They made the choice. Did they have the best car? No. Did they get up front by staying out? Yes. And to get that sixth place finish, he still had to maintain it. Again, if you don't have that ability to handle the car on older tires, you're going to get in the way, get punted out of the way, or drop like a rock. And he didn't. He maintained and got a sixth place finish. So that does put it back in the driver's hands. It may not be an outright speed and outrunning them, but managing it, as Ty Gibbs did, keeping two top drivers, Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney, behind him. And you mentioned,
pretty impressive.
You mentioned that in Ryan Blaney's case, right? Exactly. You got championship drivers behind you. You're going for your first win. They got fresher tires, but you maintain your cool. And in this case, we talked about this of Ty Gibbs has burned his equipment up before in the past. So was prepared for that this time. So good on him.
Jamie says, would Elliott Spin have possibly changed the winner had the caution comes?
Yeah, that was another. Sharon, going to have to find that controversy. I know there was some questions about that. Well, I mean, I think about it with the Kyle Busch one of no, Ty Gibbs did still manage to do what he needed to do and did it well. So anything could always change it. That's one of those. That's what you got to love about racing. Even if you have Kyle Larson dominate a race, anything can happen. A late caution, whatever can change it. You got to be prepared for that and overcome.
And Ty Gibbs did. I mean,
exactly.
I'm sure he wasn't happy that the caution came out. He probably was like, "Oh my God, now I got to do another restart." But he did it, and he did well.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it would have changed it.
Now, that was one I know there was some question again as to NASCAR playing favorites, and I try not to get involved in all that. I know that they had some statistics, and it was brought up last week even by, I can't think of it, Brad Moran. Is that who comes on Tuesday mornings? That they did look at the amount of time we're spending under caution. Larry McReynolds had the statistics and broke it down. I think there was only one caution period that was in double digits. All the others were 7, 8, 9 laps back to racing pretty quick. So shout out to NASCAR. They heard, they observed, they heard, and they did something about it.
Cautions down. I think that were you talking about Larry McReynolds' numbers?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, only 2 were in double digits. Everything else was.
Oh, were there 2? Okay.
Yeah. 1 was 10 and 1 was 11. Okay, let's talk about tempers and contact. That's Bristol being Bristol. No matter what package Bristol produces, there's still bump and run moments, retaliation, or at least heated radio chatter, and we heard all of that. Drivers settling scores in tight quarters. We can watch for some brewing rivalries here. I'm sure Riley Herbst was not very happy with that situation. Post-race confrontations, payback narratives heading into Kansas and Talladega. Talladega is another track where you can maybe do some payback.
A little bit differently versus the actual outright bump and run or spin. but the blocking and whether or not you give them a push or hang them out to dry, it's different, but certainly can be. I think from what I saw, the Kyle Busch and Riley Herbst was the only real intentional ugly one. I know there were a couple others of a little bit of back and forth of bumping, but not the outright mad, I'm going to take you out type. That was the only one I saw. If you got something else, I see. Yeah, SVG's Bristol race chaotic. Yeah, unfortunately.
He finished 34th. SVG finished 34th out of 36 drivers.
And that one was on his own. And again, with how good we've seen him running this year, Bristol is one of you got to find that groove, learn to adapt to the track. He's not quite got this one. So give him a pass.
That's another point, Jay, because this track generally favors the veterans, and yet we had a relatively new driver come out and win that race. The next generation of new drivers. As a whole, I'd say yes, but also when we talk about with this next gen car, because Ty Gibbs, this has been one of his best tracks since he got to the Cup level. It's what they call the rhythm track, albeit different than Martinsville because of the flat concrete. They were comparing that to just concrete racing versus asphalt. But then between Martinsville and Bristol, you're talking banking versus not, but it is the rhythm factor. And a lot of times you see that it just fits a driver well for some reason, or not well for a driver like Tyler Reddick, just short tracks in general, which that one kills me. Why are we a Gibbs hater? I can imagine the answer there, I guess, because we've seen some things. There are some situations I've not been happy with what he did, but I wouldn't call myself a hater. I just didn't like some of the things he did. As a Gibbs hater, she called for Ty Gibbs to win.
Yeah, and that goes back to our preview show of I don't feel he should have been under the sleeper category with where he was at. But yeah, Tyler Reddick, I don't understand why a short track and one like Kyle Larson has a dirt track background, Christopher Bell, excel at it. Why Tyler Reddick doesn't, because he's in that same category and background, is what I can't figure out.
Yeah. Well, for somebody who's not fond of Ty Gibbs, still calling for them to win, though, I think says something too.
Absolutely. Like I said, with the top six streak he was on, you saw it coming one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's, I'm trying to move through the list here because we've got a big list. Hold on. Okay. Next up, the manufacturer battle heating up. Short tracks often highlight strengths and weaknesses. Toyota came out on top on this one. The Chevrolet teams have not dominated as much as we would have maybe liked. And Ford's coming close, but they can't seem to get those wins in.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting, especially when we're talking about Hendrick Motorsports. I understand Chase Elliott got the win at Martinsville. Again, that was kind of a strategy call, went from a solid 10th place up front, and again, managed to hang on. But we haven't seen dominance. Now, Kyle Larson dominated the race yet again, but didn't get the win. And William Byron, again, kind of a no-show, if you will. So I'm kind of confused as to where, one of the shows has that concerned, confused, or confident. I'm really confused with where not just Chevy, but Hendrick Motorsports is, of why one driver, Kyle Larson, can handle it and figure it out, and that doesn't correlate to the entire organization.
It makes you wonder if they are sharing information or they're trying. I think one of the things that Hendrick Motorsports does do is they try different packages with the teams to determine which package is working and which is not. So,
well, on the flip side with Ford, and I'm trying to think where I heard the interview, they were talking about Ryan Blaney versus Joey Logano. You can't just say, hey, here's our Penske Ford setup, because Ryan Blaney apparently wants and starts with a really, really, really loose car that's what he wants and fits him well. That doesn't work for Joey Logano. So I
Correct.
get that. You're different drivers, different styles. But again, you got to have some baseline and at least have everybody semi-consistently going in the same direction. And I just don't see that from HMS.
Okay. And going to a momentum shift, heading into Kansas and Talladega, Bristol is really a tone setter for the spring stretch. Winners leave with confidence. Struggling teams now face a very different tracks next, the intermediates and the super speedways. Takeaway, this race often reshapes the narrative for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, I mean, we've gotten through the short tracks. Now we're headed to some different tracks. There's going to be different storylines coming up with the intermediates and the super speedways.
Well, I think, and we called this already last year when they announced it and into the beginning of this year, though, all of it pertains to the new chase format. And I just talked about HMS, Chase Elliott. He is in 5th in points with that consistency. Yes. And we said that was going to play to his favor, along with Ryan Blaney, who is 2nd in points. Tyler Reddick is in Toyota. I wouldn't say Toyota as a whole is a surprise. However, they've been pretty dominant. Tyler Reddick especially, though. Not that I don't think he's capable of multi-wins on any season, but coming off last season of not having any and coming out the gate as strong as he has been a bit of a surprise and a happy one. I'm happy for him. With 23-11 especially, again, mentioned Bubba Wallace, started real strong. He dropped, is now climbing back up. I like to see that mixture of, unfortunately, if somebody new is in the chase and in the top 1 points, somebody's out. And it's been Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch.
Okay, the bottom line in the Cup Series this week, Bristol once again delivered a litmus test for the next-gen car, team, strategy, and driver patience. Whether it was domination, tire management, or tempers flaring, the race likely revealed who's for real early this year and who still has work to do. And we see that very clearly, I think.
I definitely had that list, and it went back to for Ryan Blaney, it was crew chief, but RCR, Kyle Busch, got to fix something. Not colleague, I apologize. Trackhouse Racing, SVG, we've seen.
Legacy Motorsport Club.
Legacy is another one that's been right on that verge for several years. They need one more thing to take that next step because they've kind of stalled out. You're right. The Trackhouse is who I was. And there again, how can it be so split when you got SVG, new to the series, rookie last year, and showing such great improvement, and your top driver, Ross Chastain, not? And we've seen the frustration then, just like Kyle Busch, for a driver like Ross Chastain. We saw that with Daniel Suarez. Spire Motorsports, on the other hand, on the uprise with who they let go, Daniel Suarez and Carson Hocevar. Michael McDowell, the one that's kind of been dropping here now.
Mm-hmm. Jamie mentions while raising the banner at Joe Gibbs Racing, Coach Gibbs said, if Ty doesn't mess it up the next 20 years, JGR will compete in the future. I'm paraphrasing, but it makes me wonder what's happening at JGR. Yeah, what does he mean if Ty doesn't mess it up? Why would Ty mess it up?
I have not seen that interview that you're talking about. I can go with it, though. If you think about it, Heather has taken more of the
leadership.
Okay, good word. There we go. I was trying to think. I know it wasn't quite in the ownership word, but leadership role. Ty Gibbs, we've seen have his moments and have to grow in maturity, and I'm guessing that's what's being referenced there of can he maintain and look at it from a broader perspective, such as what we see Austin Dillon trying to do within RCR, or Brad Keselowski as a driver / owner. I think you're looking at that of him saying, hey, this will be Ty Gibbs' JGR organization down the road. If he wants to be, can be, will be into that position of not just driver and flying off the handle, which we've seen him do. Like I said, I've seen him have his moments I wasn't happy with, but I think that's what you're looking at. Denny Hamlin of going from driver into ownership side of it.
Okay.
But that would be my guess based off of that.
Okay. And I hope we got it right, Jamie. Let us know if we didn't. That's all I've got here. Did you have any other hot topics? One thing I wanted to mention with this too is it's interesting that Ty is doing so well this year in light of some of the comments that have been
exactly.
made.
I did have that thought on my brain as well. You're right.
Yes. In light of what's happening with the lawsuit.
Especially comparing to what we look at last year, and we don't know for sure, but the 2311 NASCAR lawsuit we thought might be affecting them, and that's why Tyler Reddick didn't win any last year. That was a distraction. This year it's Chris Gabert and JGR, specifically relating to one driver of Ty Gibbs, and it seems like they have risen to that challenge versus let it distract them. So yeah, I did have that same thought, Sharon.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, shall I just say.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay. All right. Did you have any other hot topics? I know you didn't get a chance to send in.
Yeah, no, honestly, I've been so on the go all day. Today, I barely had a chance to even get on here and get on the show. But one, I will say, I don't know if you know this, I like to talk about announcers. Parker Kligerman, your next updated driver for the free agent truck in the truck series. Isn't that awesome? And I would love to see him again get a win. I know he had one win taken away from him in the truck series. So excited about that. And Carl Edwards, I know at the beginning of the year, I said, I don't know if I agree with and understand this free agent, announce it a week or two out. I think they've been doing a great job with it. I like some of the drivers we've seen. Haven't gotten the finishes necessarily, but I think it does good for the sport. And I got to give kudos to Colleague with what they're doing there. It is working out better than what I first saw it doing.
Yes, they've been doing really well with all of that. Okay, so I guess we're coming to a close here. We do have the watch list for this week. Hot Topic Sound Off every Monday night at 8:15 is a live stream. So I know sometimes you fumble through with us as we try to manage the screens that we're dealing with and everything. We appreciate everybody's patience and everything. And as we kind of battle through that, Jamie does have something here. Mike Joy and Larry McReynolds should retire. Sorry, their minds are not sharp enough for network TV, in my opinion. A lot of people are not happy with the Fox broadcast. And thank you, Jamie. Jamie says, I will subscribe now.
That's what my thumbs up were for. Good to have you on here tonight. Enjoy your time on the lake with your NASCAR buddies. Getting a little jealous there, but won't hold it against you.
We're glad you enjoy the show. And All Sports All Day's been here with us. We've had Hunter come on here lately, and now you. So I'm sure that we will get a lot more as time goes on. He says All Sports All Day agrees to some extent. He says Mike maybe, but Larry Mack is the GOAT, the greatest all time.
Stirred up the spoon.
The best one, I think. I think it's when it comes to crew chief kind of stuff and kind of behind the scenes with what's happening with the car. I think he is pretty good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't get into that of the critiquing the broadcast, and that maybe that's because I am an announcer and do my own broadcasting. Mistakes happen. And I'm still confused about the Jamie Little one from the trucks. I don't understand that. But again, we appreciate your opinion and appreciate you sharing it. Again, like I said, the spoon is the one that got stirred up. Didn't do the stirring tonight. You done fired All Sports All Day. Larry Mack, I agree. I think does provide a lot. So I would hate to see him go away. And I think he's still, there have been times in the past where, yes, of a driver, and I won't say any names, too far removed. I think Larry Mack is still very engaged in the garage area, so I think is still one of the best.
Yeah,
see, now All Sports All Day going off now.
I think a lot of Foxes behind the scenes, but yes, Mike Joy has lost a few steps. I think they're the best with pit road. Yeah, their pit road reporters are great. And that is Jamie Little's forte too, by the way.
Right.
On the truck broadcast, maybe the worst broadcast all time, though. Yeah, stirring up the pot there again.
And honestly, this week I can't even comment a whole lot on the television broadcast because I had to do all my listening on the radio.
I will say that I've never been a fan of the Fox broadcast. To me, it's a little bit better than it has been in the past, but I do like Kevin Harvick, and I think he has been a big plus to that broadcast booth, and we'll see how it goes. I like having the guest in there with Ryan Blaney sometimes, and Joey Logano has been good for the Truck Series too. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Prime 2010 to 18 with DW was some of the best memories of my life. All Sports All Day.
All right, fair enough.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you can say yours first, Shane.
I think it's all good that we don't always agree. It's okay for us to not always agree. I like hearing the other points of view, and whether we agree or disagree, I think it's important to try to get as many points of view out there as we can. And I really appreciate the people who are participating in our live chat. I think that's fantastic. So thank you.
Absolutely. Again, and even Sharon and I, one-on-one, don't always agree. One thing I will say here, and this goes from race directing to, controlling the cautions to broadcasting. If you haven't been in that position, and I say that as an announcer, as a broadcaster, be a little bit more aware of what they go through. Race directing, I have a little bit, and I would want no part of when it comes to that, from that aspect. Do show a little appreciation that you may not always agree, and I don't always agree with the calls that are made, but I do understand the position. A television broadcast, there is a lot that goes into that. I know over the past couple of weeks, I wouldn't even notice, except it is on social media. Yes, with a company like Fox or CW, to have a completely wrong graphic of wrong series points or driver with it happens. Okay, it's not very often. They have had a couple of real bloopers, if you will, lately. How those get through at a big level, corporate level like that, is a little surprising. I will say that. Yeah, grateful every day living on Lake Norman. Yeah. Nice.
Thanks to my 85-year-old mom's real estate savvy in the 1980s.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're looking for adoption, need a brother, big brother, older brother. Anyway, sorry.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. No, that's one of those. That's one of those of just to be out on that lake, to say I've been on Lake Norman, whether I got to see another driver or not. Larry McReynolds is one I always hear talking about being out on Lake Norman. So when you said that, I was right away. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. No, I've seen pictures. Yeah. Beautiful lake. Beautiful lake.
Beautiful lake. I do want to get through our watch list here. We start with the Hot Topic Sound Off every Monday night at 8:15 here on Fan for Racing Radio. And by the way, we don't have a producer behind the scenes. The producer is me, and I'm doing double duty between trying to facilitate the conversation and managing the behind the scenes stuff here too. But anyway, Tuesday's this interview. I know Sal is working on an interview. He was at Tucson Speedway this past week. So I'm expecting it to be somebody from the ARCA West. Don't know who yet, but watch for something to come out on that, hopefully tomorrow. And then Wednesday is Race Chat Live Day. That's when Chris Crichton, Taz Taylor, and CJ Sports talk about the midweek storylines that are developing. And they also review the previous week of racing and kind of a preview of the upcoming race. Taz does his top power rankings for the top teams in NASCAR. So that's always interesting as well. And they're shaking things up this week. So you have to tune in and find out more about
that's right. That's right.
On Race Chat Live this week. And then Thursdays, you can watch for our previews coming out for the upcoming week of racing that is taking place at Kansas. We have 3 races, including ARCA, Xfinity, and Cup Series, all racing at Kansas this weekend. So watch for those on Thursday and Friday. And Friday is our fantasy report day, when Taz and I sit down and give you our fantasy odds, or give you the fantasy odds, and help you with your race picks for your fantasy team. So you'll want to tune in for that on Friday. And I will tell you, thank you, Jamie. She says, a great job all the way around. I cannot do it. Well, I'm not very good at it, but I try to do the best I can over here, trying to do double duty. But I will say that after the weekend of racing, we start all over again on Monday nights with Hot Topic Sound Off at 8:15 on Central Time on Wednesday nights, Monday nights. I'm already starting to lose today.
Right. Yeah. Ran a little long tonight, starting to get that brain slow down. But I want to send a thank you back to Jamie, as well as All Sports All Day and Hunter Blazer. Having you guys interact just makes it that much more fun for us here on the show. So we love it. I saw you said you were subscribing. I don't know if you were counted in yet. We're up to 120 subscribers. Hopefully we see you as a regular on here now, week in and week out.
Yes, I hope so. We really enjoyed having everybody here. All Sports All Day, thank you so much. He says, another great night. Jamie Schweitzer says, thank you. And we do appreciate you guys for sure. And we hope you keep interacting with us, because that was one of the premises that we've always had. That's one of the visions we've always had for this show, is that it is interactive. And in all the years that we've done it on Blog Talk Radio, it seemed to be so difficult. And we're getting that here on YouTube. So I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you so, so much.
Bring the spoon, or be the spoon. All Sports All Day is the spoon. Be the spoon.
Yeah, if you were here last week, you'll know what he means by that. Okay, now before we leave, I do have a few parting words I'd like to share with everybody. If I can pull up the right screen here. That's going to do it for this episode of Hot Topic Sound Off this week. I will say Bristol did bring some intensity. Tucson added to the storylines with the first-time winner in the ARCA West Series. The next-gen era continues to evolve right in front of us, and especially, I think, this season. Now it's your turn. What stood out to you the most this weekend? Be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments and keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Jamie, for subscribing. And hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks again for tuning in. We appreciate you being part of the Fan for Racing community. And until the next time, stay safe, enjoy the racing, and we'll see you right back here for more Hot Topic Sound Off next week. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.